Y'all, today was a very emotional day for me. Y'all know I like to usually get on here and tell y'all how my days went. I did have a great day, but something did happen. So, while I walked in my patient room to grab the gloves or whatever to take my patient temp, because I was finna get ready to start her antibiotics, to check her temp and everything, and her daughter was in a room or whatever talking to my preceptor. So the daughter ends up cutting my preceptor off, looks at me up and down. I introduced myself and was like, "Hey, I'm DJ. I'm with such and such taking care of your mom." And she looks at me and say, "I'm sorry, but my mom don't like black people." Yeah, my feelings was so freaking hurt. I did not know what to do. Like I literally was just staring and I was like I was just shocked. I took my gloves off, walked out the room, sat at the nurse's station. I could not hold it together. Like I'm just a very emotional person. And yeah, I'm strong and stuff like that. And yeah, I know, I know about racism and stuff. And yeah, it's not supposed to get to me, but like it really just hurted my feelings because I'm like, I'm sitting here taking care of your mom, and the reason why her mom couldn't tell me she don't like black people is because her mom was on a ventilator. But I'm like, I'm sitting here taking care of your mom, doing the best I can, making sure she, get off this ventilator eventually. And the first thing you tell me is your mom don't like black people. So I started crying, and one of the nurses came, rub my back, and she was like, "Let's go to the break room or whatever." And then the daughter trying to run down the hall and tell me she's sorry and stuff. And I'm just like I just kept walking. Like I don't want to hear that now. Like you already said what you said. So I go in the little break room and I'm just crying, y'all. But my coworkers was very, very, very kind and sweet, and they was giving me hugs. Well, they didn't give me hugs, but one of the girls that work in the front was trying to give me she was like, "Do you like hugs or whatever?" But anyways, they was just like making sure I was okay and stuff, and they really took care of the situation. It was like if she was to do it again, they told her it was unacceptable and stuff, that they was going to call security and all that. So yeah, that's how my day went today. I did have a great shift, but that kind of caught me off guard, and it was kind of awkward because I didn't know what to say in the moment. But of course, I wasn't going to say anything. Inappropriate because it's a professional, setting or whatever. So I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't say anything, but I just walked out the room. But yeah, that's how my day went. But I hope y'all had a great day. I just want to tell y'all that somebody really told me that. Like I couldn't even believe it, man. I could not believe that them words came out her mouth. I could not. I was like, this, you got to be kidding me. And I wasn't going to post this because I was thinking, so I might not post it today, but if y'all seeing it, it's probably not the day that it happened, or whatever. But just know, it hurted my feelings so bad. Like I was crying. I just couldn't handle it.
Hi, lovelies. How are you doing? Welcome back again to my channel. My name is Olivia, and thank you so much for your love and support. So, family racism is something nobody should ever have to experience, right? But let's be honest, black people still face it every day, even here to 2025. And what's worse is this half the world acts like they are overreacting. No, okay, we are reacting to reality. You see it everywhere. You see it in hospitals, schools, your neighbors, basically everywhere where black kids are labeled aggressive for simply speaking up. In workplaces where we have to work twice as hard just to be seen as good enough. Okay, people see racism. Okay, 2025, right? Things are different now. No, things are not different. Okay, people are still speaking out, people are still sharing the same old stories over and over again because these things are still happening to them, right? When you are black, you learn early that racism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's just they look someone look at you. Sometimes it's just a decision someone makes about you even before you open your mouth. Okay. So it's weighing a lot of black Americans down because it's something that's constantly happening every day, right? So let's watch together, family, and let's hear what people have to share with us about their racism experience. Let me know yours if you have anyone in the comment section. We'd love to read it, and we'll come back after a while with more commentaries. Please don't go anywhere. Stay with me.
Yes, you heard that correctly. I documented my experience being ignored as a black shopper in Los Gatos, California. Let's get into it. I walked into the store fully intending to buy an iPhone 17 in black, 256 gigabytes. I had done my research and I knew exactly what I wanted. The first thing I noticed when I walked into the store is that nobody greeted me. Meanwhile, customers that had walked in before me as well as after me were being greeted. And this is when I decided to start my stopwatch. I was curious to see how long it would take for an employee to come up to me and see if I had any questions or was ready to buy the phone. I was so sure that in the next few minutes somebody was going to approach me, but spoiler alert, this did not happen. Interestingly enough, a couple walked in a couple minutes after I did and they were greeted and helped right away. And actually, an employee escorted them over to look at phones near where I was and ended up leaving this phone overturned in the process. Now, this part should not matter whatsoever, but this is what I was wearing. Nothing too crazy. It's raining outside. I also had my Italian leather purse that's probably worth more than what these employees make in a day, but I digress. The other thing that made this experience even more enjoyable is that while these employees were not coming up to me to say hi, they definitely were looking over at me over and over again to make sure I probably wasn't stealing from them. If you're a black person in America and you're shopping in a predominantly white area, then you know it's so rare to have a decent shopping experience. Store employees will either follow you around the store or they'll completely ignore you while watching you with their eyes to make sure you don't steal from them. Now, I actually started my timer a bit late. At this point, I had been in the store for about 15 minutes with no greeting and employees staring at me with no one offering to help, so I decided it was time to go. Not the employee looking at me as I'm walking out and making eye contact. Overall, it was a horrible shopping experience, and I'm so saddened that our community has to experience this over and over again.
You know what's the craziest thing about that pregnant lady dealing with medical negligence from that white woman, and she's going through all that pain and this, that, and the third, and the white woman just staring at her? You know what's the craziest thing about that video besides all of that? That baby wasn't even born yet, and that's its first experience with racism. This is America, yo.
All right, racist.
The VIN number is 3 Nancy 1 8.
Let's talk about one of the most infuriating privileges in racist America, the privilege of stupidity. This is the freedom to be uneducated, to be reckless, to be flat out wrong, and to still have the entire world bend over backwards to accommodate your ignorance. Racists actually get to be stupid. They're a protected class of incompetence. A white man can stand up and spew the most historically illiterate, scientifically bankrupt nonsense you've ever heard, and what happens? He's given a platform. He's just asking questions. He's just expressing his opinion. When really his stupidity is treated as a charming character flaw or a quirky personality trait. You can get a DUI and the judge calls it a youthful mistake. He can start a failed business with his father's money and they call him a job creator. He can violently assault someone and have his character witnesses describe him as a good boy from a good family. Their communities, their media, their justice system, all are designed to absorb their failures and recycle them into second, third, and infinite chances. But let a black American person simply make a wrong turn while failing to signal and suddenly they're in cuffs. Or worse, a casket. Let them sneeze too loudly in the wrong neighborhood, they will literally be surrounded by a bunch of white colonizers who own nothing. What happens when a true indigenous American has a bad day and doesn't have a smile plastered all over their face while they're buying groceries? Immediately accused and followed. But let a white woman enter a dollar store with a huge purse and suddenly Helen Keller's the only employee in the store. Their actions are a threat. What they're actually doing is suspicious activity. That's a reason for a 911 call. Since your every move is scrutinized, black Americans, record them and call 911 for every little infraction. Them simply walking towards you in an aggressive manner is assault and grounds for an arrest. Take advantage of that. Use your videos as evidence. Prison and jail is the easiest way to destroy privileges. You can't be privileged if you're in an orange jumpsuit. Do not let them get away with the behaviors they try to criminalize you for. It's your turn to become the masters of scrutiny.
Bump it up a notch, some people were mocking me and laughing at me very openly to my face. And this was happening at some photo spots where I was kind of recording at and taking some pictures. It's important to know that these are extremely famous locations, like the place where Spirited Away was based on. Everyone else is also taking pictures. I am not doing anything that everyone else is not doing. These girls, literally I caught them in the back of my video, like mocking me and like laughing at me. It was terrible. Sorry. It all off is when me and my new friends that I met that were also staying at my hostel went to this really lame, actually, block party. But we had each other and we were really enjoying each other's company, so it didn't matter that the club music that they were playing was Justin Bieber's Baby. It was a cutesy little vibe. There was a little extra VIP section, which was, I think it was like the top of a trailer or something like that. But me and my friends wanted to go up there and check it out. It was actually empty, except for two girls that looked like they were recently out of high school, maybe just starting college or something like that. And they were dressed really cute, but they were just kind of sitting to themselves on their phone, on the side, on a bench. So me and my friends were like, hey, we got the VIP section to ourselves. Eventually, I danced around towards the girls that had been sitting down. Something told me to look down at them to, like, I don't know, maybe check in on them. And I see that their phone was recording up my skirt while I was dancing around. The shock and hurt that I went through in that moment is something different. My guard was down because these are young girls. Why would they do something like that to me? Immediately when I noticed, I glared at them accusatorily. And they immediately looked scared from my look. And I'm like, oh yeah, they did exactly what I think they did. But I'm not in the business of accusing people when I don't have proof, even though I know. So I went over and I told the friends that I came with, and they were disgusted and they were gonna do something about it, but I'm super non-confrontational. And like, what if they just pretended not to know English? What if? And I just left it alone. The girls ended up leaving VIP. I'm kind of frustrated with myself because as a city girl, I never let my guard down like that. So one time I did, and it bit me in the butt, literally. To everyone that travels alone, be safe, be vigilant, stay strong, focus on all of the good things. I still had a great time in Taiwan doing other things like that. I don't let things like this get me down no matter what it is. But I thought I should show you guys multiple sides to traveling abroad and traveling in Asia specifically. If you have any stories that you want to share or any messages that you want to send that are positive and supportive, please leave them in the comments and give me a follow. Otherwise, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye.
My job has racially profiled me, underpaid me, ignored formal complaints and more, and I'm exhausted, so I'm just here to ask for advice. After this little story time, we'll be right back to reporting to you as normal. I'm just a little upset right now because it feels very defeating to try your hardest but always get pushed back down. So for starters, I work at a gas station. They hired me on as the store manager. Store manager, like general manager, not the assistant, not the helper, the store manager. I went for an interview to just work as an employee. I gave them my work background. I've been a manager at other jobs since I've been 17, so they were like, oh yeah, we need you. Now they hired me on, the store manager that was there was on her last 3 days, so she trained me for 3 days. After she trained me for 3 days, which was no management training, just normal stuff like tasks and how to do the register, normal stuff. The higher up, and I'm talking about the higher up, came in to train me, and I will call her Barbara. Now Barbara comes in to train me, and she's kind of nice at first, but also she's giving me the vibes that she doesn't really like me. That's fine. I've been working since as long as I can, and I know everybody at work is not going to like you. I'm here to learn, so if I have any questions, I just would like to ask them, that's all. Now, while Barbara's training me, I'm asking her questions, and she's on her computer, and she's like, What? So I'm an introvert. I know it don't seem like I am on my videos, but in real life, so I'm automatically like, whoa, I don't even want to ask my question no more. Internally, I'm like, okay, Barbara, you're lucky my mom raised me right, because on the streets, I would read you till your fucking toes curled up like them witch's shoes on the Wizard of Oz. With no rules and restraints, I might talk bad to Nanny McPhee if I can't just walk away. I digress though. I said that was eternally. Of course, I was raised the right way, so I just kept working and I kept asking questions as needed, and when she got mad, I just tried to ignore it. Every time I had a question, it was met with confrontation, so then I felt like I was defending me, just being confused, trying to learn and trying to get trained. One day, the system goes down. Barbara's over there on the phone with the tech company trying to figure it out. She can't figure out what button they're trying to get her to press, so I'm like, Barbara, they're trying to tell you to press that button. She's like, oh, thank you. Wow, first time Barbara said thank you. So then the tech company is trying to help her find another button that she doesn't know how to press. And I'm like, Barbara, I think they're telling you to press that button. Barbara looks at me, scolds me, and says, after weeks on end of confrontation, when all I'm trying to do is ask Barbara for help and figure out what I need to do, I go ahead and take a step in the bathroom because I'm livid. I really want to just let Barbara have it right there at the computer with the tech company on the phone and all customers at the counter, but I hold it in. I'm a Cancer, so if you piss me off enough, I'm going to let some tears out. So, of course, I went to the bathroom, let out that emotion, and I came back out and told Barbara that I needed to talk to her before she left today immediately. Realistically, though, I went to the bathroom, calmed down, and said, Barbara, before you leave today, I would really like to talk to you. After I asked Barbara to come outside and talk to me, all my other coworkers are shocked because nobody's ever told Barbara that I need to talk to you. They just kind of take that shit from Barbara. Except the only problem is everybody's saying that they take that shit from Barbara, but Barbara's not treating anybody else like this but me. I don't want to bring race into it, but I just want you to keep in mind that I'm the only African-American person at the store, so when I'm treated different, it just feels a little odd. So, me and Barbara go outside, we're talking, I tell Barbara, how come every time I ask you a question, it feels like I have to defend myself and it's met with confrontation? What can we do to figure this out? Because I can't take it much longer. Barbara looks at me, she starts tearing up, she starts crying, and she says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I never meant to treat you like that, I'm so stressed, I have 9 stores that I'm over, and I'm just everywhere at once. I'm not an asshole, and I'm too forgiving, it's the Cancer in me. So I'm like, you know what, Barbara, it's fine. I know you're stressed and I get stressed because I be stressed too, so we can deal with it. She said sorry. She said she's going to work on it. Cool. I thought things were going to get better. I felt really accomplished. That was honestly the very first time in my whole adult life that I had a crash-outable moment, but I didn't crash out and I handled that shit with grace. So after this happens with me and Barbara, the same thing continues, and then next thing I know, Barbara has hired a store manager, so now I'm the assistant manager. Keep in mind, when they hired me on, they said they had to keep me at regular employee salary until I was done with my training. To speed that part of the story up, guess what? It's been 2 years and I still must be training because I haven't got that pay. Bitch, I ain't moved a position. They want me sitting there like a Monopoly piece. Now I'm about to speed up to the racial profile, and that happened. I was a little pissed off about my position, so I talked to the new store manager and told her what happened to me, and can I at least be the assistant manager since I've been doing all the assistant manager tasks, aside from going to the bank because that's what the manager does. She acted like she was vouching for me. She acted like she was riding. I ended up seeing Barbara again. I asked her how come I haven't got moved up to assistant manager, how come I haven't got the pay. Barbara told me, you haven't even taken the manager test, and I already told your boss that I'm not making you a manager ever. So I was like, if I was never ever going to be manager, then how the fuck did I get hired on as the manager? Store manager. I go up to Barbara, she's at her computer, she's like, what? I'm like, I'm sorry, if you're busy. She's like, what? Tell me what you want. I humble myself like a dumbass house slave, and I say, Barbara, I'm not trying to bother you, but I haven't got the manager pay, I haven't got the position, so I was just wondering, is that ever gonna happen? Barbara went ham on me, boom. She said, I'll never make you a manager, I'm not going to, so I gave up on a manager dreams. Now, we're gonna move on to the racially profiling and being accused of stealing when I've never stole a damn thing from the store. At our store, there's a feature called suspend order. Now, within the first year I worked there, I never suspended an order, but I've seen countless employees suspend orders and then buy their food or buy their snacks at the end of their shift. And me, like I said, I've never suspended my order because I feel like that's something that's setting you up to get accused of stealing, but yet again, I've seen everybody do it, so I feel like it's safe. I grab some biscuits and gravy. Immediately, it gets busy as fuck, so I set my biscuits and gravy down on the counter and I suspend it, and then I start helping a line of people. Now, when I grab this biscuits and gravy, the deli manager comes up and she's sitting there staring at me, watching me while I'm working behind my back. I notice her and I'm looking back like what's going on, but I'm also trying to help the people. Me and her don't even talk like that, so I'm really bewildered on why she's sitting there staring at me. I ask her why. She says, oh, did you get that biscuits and gravy yet? Ma'am, it's right there. So then she's like, oh, okay, and then she walks off. I'm still helping a line of people because I actively have a line of people when I stop and ask her why she's staring at me because it feels a little uncomfortable. Now, while I'm consistently busy in the morning, I still have construction workers coming in. I didn't have time to take a bite, nor did I have time to pay. So the biscuits and gravy is still sitting here, and I'm still standing here working. Haven't touched it. She comes around the corner and begins to stare at me again. And she asks, have you got the biscuits and gravy? I told her, no, not yet. I'm still helping people. I have a busy line. She's like, oh, okay. Fast forward, I help this line of people, I pay for my biscuits and gravy, I sit down and eat them, and I throw them bitches in the trash, because that's what you do when you pay for something and you eat it all. After I throw them bitches in the trash and pay for them, she comes back and she's like, hey, did you get the biscuits and gravy yet? So then I automatically get pissed off now. So I'm like, what do you want, a receipt? She's like, yeah. So I'm like, pearls clutched. What the fuck do you mean you want a receipt, bitch? Do you think I'm the hashling and slasher? Do you think I'm the burglar? So I hand this deli manager the receipt. She sees I got my biscuits and gravy, and I also got some Dunkin' Donuts coffee. She doesn't say sorry. She doesn't say nothing. She's never asked any other employees for their receipt when they get food on the clock. Nobody else has ever been asked but me. I think it's weird. I mark it off on my calendar as a weird event, but I just keep working as nothing happened. I thought it was a little weird, and I thought it was wrong that she asked me for my receipt, but she never asked anybody else at that store for their receipt. Like I said, I'm the only person. I'm venting to my coworkers about what happened, and nobody's really validating me. They're just acting like it's normal, a normal occurrence. So I shouldn't act like it's weird, which is part of the reason I'm here right now. Now, after that happened, I stopped eating food at this fucking gas station in total. I stopped getting anything to eat. One thing I know is I know what I am, and I know if I put myself in situations where I can be accused, then I'm just gonna fucking get accused, and I'm gonna have to deal with that. I don't do lottery at work. I don't touch the money. I don't fucking touch anything that I feel like I'm not supposed to touch because I just don't want to get accused of shit because I know what the fuck can happen. So they get some new chicken tenders at work, and I know how cliche chicken tenders. Now, they've had plenty of new things at this job, and they usually give us samples, and they did it this time, which was fine because I had money and I was fine. I was willing to buy the chicken tenders. Now, one thing I noticed was there was a heavy influx of people getting their food and paying for it after work, even my boss. Usually a bitch always have money, but sometimes, you know, when you pay your rent and then you go shopping, you might be a little short on cash. So it just so happened to be the day of my payday, so the new chicken tenders came out. I was just gonna get the chicken tenders and pay for them after, like everybody else usually does. I request her to make me some chicken tenders. I set them aside and I continue working because I really don't have time to eat them right now. So keep in mind the chicken tenders are unscathed, stickers still on the fucking box. Now there's an employee talking to her boyfriend and I answer their conversation. There's customers still in the store. Keep that in mind. I'm sitting there in my downtime talking to my coworker and her boyfriend in my downtime while other customers are getting their drinks and their snacks and stuff. And then the kitchen manager comes out in front of everybody and is like, are you going to pay for those chicken tenders? You haven't paid for them yet. I was like, damn, I suspended them like everybody else does. My bad. She was like, well, I need you to pay for them. I need to see that they're paid for. So knowing that I crash out and I get hotter than a Nubian star, I just get quiet. I'm in a predominantly white area, and although the community around me has never treated me bad, I do not want to be labeled as the ghetto black person that just fucking went off in the fucking middle of the store.
I really had a good day as a start, you know, but excuse me guys, it's first time having so much emotion. I never feel so bad because of being black, you see. That's really hurt my heart today. to see American people being so racist with me because of their child. I'm an orphan, so that's really broke my heart today. It's never felt so harder for me for being black. But I'm proud of being black, you see. I'm super proud, so whatever will put me down, my color of skin, whatever in this country, I'm gonna leave it to God.
Alright, so something just happened to me that I feel like I need to talk about because it happens to a lot of black men. I went into a Dwayne Reed here in Queens, a pharmacy, just to grab some shave balm, nothing fancy. And a lot of the pharmacies here in New York, they have a shield, you have to hit a button, someone comes, unlocks it, gives you what you need. An employee who I believe to be a manager unlocked the case, got the shave balm, says he'll hold it behind the counter. Which I thought that was very strange, because there's a white man in the same aisle I am, being helped by another worker, and she does not do the same to him. We get in line at the exact same time. I see him holding his deodorant up under his arm. So I finally get to the cashier, I pay for my shave balm, I'm putting it in my backpack to go, and ironically, the same cashier helps the white dude who was in the same aisle I was. So I ask him, yo, did they hold anything behind the counter for you so that you could purchase it? And he's like, no. And in that moment, I was like, yep, I'm not crazy. It was racial. Because if that rule was real, it would have applied to everybody else, not just me. A lot of black men know this feeling. We know what it's like to be treated like a risk. Other people get treated like customers. I already called corporate. I already documented it. Because these moments, they add up. And they don't just disappear. They stay with you. I'm sharing this because it's not just about the shave balm. It's about dignity. It's the small ways that you get profiled every day just for existing. And how people act like it's no big deal when it hits you deeply. So yeah, if this happened to you, you're not imagining it. You're not overreacting. It's real. And I'm tired of pretending like these moments, they don't matter. That's it. Just need to say it out loud. Later.
I truly don't understand how anybody that is not white lives in the South. I admit I'm a psycho New York liberal girly, but coming down to Florida from New York, okay, is such a stark difference in everything. The South just exudes stupidity. It exudes anti-intellectualism. It exudes racism. It exudes homophobia. It exudes so many isms, okay, that I don't know how anybody who's black or a person of color can even survive here. If I literally lived here, I would end up in jail because I do not let racism go unchecked. Because, what you feeling like? You okay? I see you staring and making faces. Are you okay? Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I cannot stand this place. And me and my family, we have a beachfront condo down here in Florida. And I literally come here once every couple of years. And this is the exact reason why. Because this is disgusting. And it is crazy to me how the U.S. differs amongst states like this. I could never, ever in my life live here. Ever. And one last thing, y'all. These people are big down here. I'm like, God damn. I know Americans are big as a whole, but going from New York, coming down here to the South, on God, 1 in 8 people here have obesity. 1 in 8 people. Gotta be. Gotta be. Y'all are big as hell.
I'm pretty sure this has already been talked about on here, but I just wanted to bring this up again because of this comment that a lot of the experiences that Black Americans have in Europe are not the same as the experiences that Africans or Caribbeans have in Europe. So you may not be experiencing racism as much there because of your American identity. So you're not seen the same way that other people are seen who are immigrants from the Caribbean and from Africa.
You need to leave now.
What? I'm just having coffee.
Manager says you're making people uncomfortable. You're trespassing.
I bought this coffee 10 minutes ago. I'm not bothering anyone.
Are you leaving or do I need to remove you?
You're making a mistake. FBI, Special
I don't
Agent
care.
Craig Bartlett had been with the Seattle Police Department for 8 years when he walked into a situation that would destroy his career and cost the city $5.2 million. He was 33 years old, experienced enough to know better, but apparently convinced that his judgment was infallible. One Tuesday morning in a crowded downtown coffee shop, he received a call from a nervous manager about a suspicious person who didn't belong there. The suspicious person was Special Agent Jennifer Monroe, a 16-year FBI veteran sitting alone with her laptop and coffee, preparing for a meeting. What Bartlett did next, ignoring her credentials, dismissing witness testimony, and arresting her in front of dozens of mourning customers, would become a textbook example of how racial profiling destroys lives and careers. Before we continue, where are you watching from? If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Stories like these need to be shared, and your support helps us bring more truth to light. Peak Street Coffee sits on the corner of 4th Avenue and Pike Street in downtown Seattle. It's the kind of place that fills up every morning with professionals grabbing their caffeine before work, lawyers, tech workers, business people, students, high ceilings, exposed brick, Edison bulbs hanging from the ceiling, and tables packed close together. It was 8:15 a.m. on a Tuesday in March. Rain tapped against the large front windows. The morning rush was in full swing. Every table was occupied. The line at the counter stretched to the door. Special Agent Jennifer Monroe had been with the FBI for 16 years. 16 years working cases that required precision, patience, and an ability to see patterns others missed. She'd spent 8 years in financial crimes, dismantling money laundering operations and investment fraud schemes. 5 years before that, in cyber crimes, tracking down hackers who targeted infrastructure and financial institutions. 3 years in counterintelligence before that, she testified before grand juries, coordinated with the Treasury Department and SEC, and trained junior agents in forensic accounting. She'd received the Attorney General's Award for Distinguished Service. Her supervisors called her meticulous. Her colleagues called her the agent who never missed a detail. At 41 years old, Jennifer Monroe was exactly where she'd worked, to be trusted, respected, and given responsibility for complex investigations that required both intelligence and composure. That Tuesday morning, Monroe was off duty but preparing for a 9:30 a.m. meeting with a confidential informant in a federal investigation. She'd arrived at Peak Street Coffee at 7:50 a.m., ordered a large black coffee and a croissant, and claimed a small table near the window. She'd opened her laptop and spent the next 20 minutes reviewing her case notes, making sure she had her questions organized. She wore dark jeans, a gray blazer over a white blouse, and low heels. Professional, but not obviously law enforcement. Her FBI credentials were in her purse on the chair next to her. Her service weapon was locked in her car she rarely carried off duty unless the situation required it. She looked like what she was, a professional woman having coffee before a business meeting. She'd done nothing to attract attention. She'd spoken to no one except the barista who took her order. But to one person in that coffee shop, Jennifer Monroe's presence was a problem, and that person had decided to do something about it. Dylan Kershaw was 24 years old. He'd been the assistant manager at Peak Street Coffee for 18 months, hired right out of college with a degree in hospitality management and big plans to open his own cafe someday. He was enthusiastic, eager to please, and deeply concerned about maintaining what he called the right atmosphere for the shop. He wanted Peak Street to be a place where customers felt safe and comfortable, a place where the regular clientele, mostly white professionals, felt like they belonged. And this morning, Dylan Kershaw had noticed something that made him uncomfortable. A black woman, sitting alone, working on a laptop, taking up a table during the busy morning rush. She'd been there for nearly 30 minutes on a single coffee purchase. In Kershaw's mind, something didn't add up. This wasn't the usual customer. She didn't look like she fit the Peak Street profile. She must be homeless or jobless, camping out for free Wi-Fi. She was taking up space that paying customers needed. Never mind that she was a paying customer. Never mind that she was impeccably dressed. Never mind that dozens of other people in the shop had been there just as long or longer. Kershaw saw a black woman and decided she didn't belong. He watched her for 10 more minutes, working up the courage to do something about it. Then he pulled out his phone and called the police, non-emergency line. "Hi, I'm the manager at Peak Street Coffee on Pike Street. We have a person here who's been loitering for a long time and making customers uncomfortable. Could you send an officer?" The dispatcher asked standard questions. Is the person being threatening? Causing a disturbance? No, but she's been here a really long time and she's making people uncomfortable just by being here. Is she a paying customer? Kershaw hesitated. She bought a coffee, but that was like 30 minutes ago. Has she violated any store policies? Not exactly, but I need her to leave. The call was logged. A unit was dispatched. Officer Craig Bartlett responded. Do you think managers should face consequences for
You need to leave now.
What? I'm just having coffee.
Manager says you're making people uncomfortable. You're trespassing.
I bought this coffee 10 minutes ago. I'm not bothering anyone.
Are you leaving or do I need to remove you?
You're making a mistake. FBI, Special
I don't
Agent
care
Monroe.
if you're the president, you're leaving.
Seattle just paid over $5.2 million because one officer made the worst decision of his career. And it all started over a cup of coffee. It happened at Peak Street Coffee during the busy morning rush. A manager called police claiming a suspicious woman was loitering. That woman was Special Agent Jennifer Monroe, 16-year FBI veteran sitting quietly with her laptop before a meeting. Officer Craig Bartlett showed up, ignored her credentials, refused to verify them, and arrested her in front of dozens of customers, even after she showed her real FBI badge. Witnesses recorded everything. The videos exploded online. Hours later, the FBI confirmed Monroe's identity. Bartlett was suspended, then fired. The manager was fired too. And the city settled for $5.2 million, plus an $800,000 payout from the coffee shop's insurance. Civil rights groups called it a textbook case of racial profiling.
Okay, so let's talk about black on black racism, because I cannot believe the response I got to this video I posted a few days. And I was basically just describing my experience traveling in St. Kitts and how awful I was treated, even though I was a black traveler and it was a black country. And I feel like it raised a really interesting discussion because a lot of people were in the comments telling stories about how they also were treated really poorly as black people in other black countries, whether it was Caribbean, a lot of Caribbean actually, a lot of Caribbean, and also some African countries. And I think it was so interesting because it's one of those things where you always think about, oh, like, where is it safe to travel and where they're not going to be racist? And a lot of people, like, I was very surprised how I was treated because I thought that as a black person, I would be treated, like, at least as well as everyone else was, but certainly not worse. Whereas a lot of places people say they don't like and are racist, like Italy and Spain and these places, like I've been many times and had a great time. Like, hands down, the worst place I've ever been treated was a black country. And so a few people in the comments were also saying the same things, and also talking about like black on black racism, which, you know, I guess I hadn't thought of in that context, but I guess it is just something that does exist and is more complicated. Because, yeah, like people from the Caribbean might perceive black Americans differently. People from Africa might perceive us differently just because of different histories, different, you know, whatever. I personally do not get it, nor do I feel that way about my other Caribbean and African sisters and brothers, but you know, I'm American, and so maybe they do feel differently about us than we do about them. But I'm gonna let you guys weigh in. Like, I want to know what you think, especially people who saw the other video, and if you didn't see it, go back and watch it a few videos ago. And especially read the comments. I'm putting some on screen, but a lot of people are saying the same things that I said about how they were treated in other like African and Caribbean countries. And a lot of them also said the same thing I said, which was like, you were super surprised because you weren't expecting it the same way you would when you travel to a place that is known to kind of have more white people or people of different races and less people of color there. So you feel like you're more like ready to be treated poorly, or like more just prepared for it mentally, and then like shocked when it happens to you, like with who you think are your own people.
Racism in the big 2025 makes zero sense to me, and it kills me when people are like, oh, but you know, we all had a racist phase. Motherfucker, who is we? Like, what do you mean you had a phase where you were racist? Like, what are you talking about? And those people will be like, oh, but you know, I just didn't know any better. And it's like, stop with that bullshit, all right? Because I remember when I was in like the 2nd grade, I almost beat a kid's ass because he tried to tell me a racist joke. Mind you, I was like 8 years old and I knew the difference then. And just how I knew he was trying to be racist with that dumbass joke he was telling, that little boy knew he was being racist with the joke he was telling. And deadass, I just don't understand how people just pass it off as like a phase or some shit. And then like even now, you know, present day, being racist in 2025, like, what are you doing? And like the funny thing about these people is that they crave attention with all the racist shit they say, and like if you just ignore them, it gets under their skin so badly. Like that one group in Arkansas is like the whites only community, and they're like, oh yeah, we only want white people but no Jewish people, all this stuff, right? The fact that people are just ignoring them and that's getting them mad is so funny to me. And like if you took out the reactions that people would have to what racist people say, I promise you these people, they wouldn't say what they do, all right? Because they just want the attention that a lot of people give them when they respond to it.
I don't even know where to start. Like, I've never been so scared in my life or experienced racism like this. But I went to Ojai for the day. I was supposed to just have a really cute, cool day, right? I'm walking around and I see this coffee shop. I was like, oh, let's go get some coffee and apply for some jobs. I'm trying to leave my job. And I'm just chilling in a coffee shop, and all of a sudden this lady comes over and she's like, hey, are you gonna order some coffee? And I was like, not right now. I'm working right now, but maybe later. So then she goes, well, you need to leave. She then pursues to ask me if my bag was my bag, this bag right here, if it was my bag, and then picks it up. Sorry, my mom was calling to check on me, but so I push her hand off of my bag and she's like, you need to get out. And then I was like, girl, like, why are you asking me to leave? So she was like, you're not ordering anything, you need to get out, I'm asking you to leave. And then the girl that was next to me, we were sharing tables, she was like, this is our hometown, leave. And when I tell y'all, I was so scared. She wouldn't move out of my way. I couldn't go anywhere. So I had to go all the way around just to get out of the coffee shop. Everybody's just staring at me and nobody says anything. Everybody's just staring at me, just looking at me. And I called my Uber. I made my Uber go across the way so I wouldn't have to be in front of the coffee shop. But I would never, ever, ever, ever be in that establishment. That shit scared the living hell out of me. And I asked that everybody leave a horrible review for them. And if you're ever in Ojai, it's called Ojai Coffee Roasters Co. Don't go to that place.
Talk about a sensitive topic, racism. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because I experienced it firsthand for many, many years, you know. So I grew up in a town called Coleman, Alabama. And it was pretty damn racist out there for me. And I'm not even full black, I'm mixed. So, you know, I was getting called the N-word every day. I was treated differently. You know, my mom had boyfriends that would call me the N-word, all these different things. And long story short, you know, there's a lot in between the story, but I'm going to get to the summary of it. So I was constantly getting threatened by this one white dude and his friends to come down to my house and beat my ass and all these different things. And I texted him, I was like, hey, if you come to my house, I'll kill you. That's what I said. And I guess he ended up calling the police or whatever. And then the police came and arrested me, said it was a terroristic threat. I spent 7 days in juvenile jail. My mom had to pay for all these lawyers, all these different things to keep me from getting put in jail longer. Then I ended up getting banned from any Coleman County school district and all that stuff. So when people say it's not racist out there, it's pretty damn racist. And not everybody out there is like that. Some people are great people, but a lot of them are very, very terrible people. And that shows you that shit was, yeah, it wasn't a fun time, but that's my story a little bit. What's up, you guys? So I want to talk.
So, family, at the end of the day, I think racism is something that should not happen to anybody. No matter your race, no matter your color, no matter your status. No one should ever, ever experience racism. Okay? You all should learn how to treat each and everyone equally with respect. Okay? And thank you so much for watching my video. I will see you guys in my next video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Bye and stay safe.